sick. There's also people in the back where there were spectators.
So that's...
Yeah, that's the runner area.
And that's what's on there.
Yeah, and that's what they see. And the couch is where the runner and all people who are going to be commentating when one's sick. People behind them are just kind of friends for support who are going to be on camera. And then the entire thing is captured here on display. They can get every console on the output. And so far, the release rate is grand. So yeah, it's 50K from the first time. Wow.
How much did they raise an SGDQ last time? Do you remember what the SGDQ total was for 2014?
750.
750?
Welcome back to Awesome Games Done Quick 2015. Next up is Squidclaw, who's going to be running They Bleed Pixels. "100% of your donations at Awesome Games Done Quick 2015 go to the Prevent Cancer Foundation. Prevent Cancer Foundation is the only nonprofit in the United States that solely focuses on cancer prevention and early detection. Each year, more than 1.6 million Americans are diagnosed with the disease, and more than 500,000 die from the disease. However, research shows that up to 60% of cases and more than 50% of deaths are preventable with what we know now. Prevent Cancer Foundation focuses their efforts in research, education, outreach, and advocacy, with over $138 million invested in over 29 years. And we are Awesome Games Done Quick. The Games Done Quick event held every year in January, featuring members of Speed Demos Archive and Speedruns Live. SDA proudly hosts speedruns of over 1,000 games with forums containing speedrunning planning and marathon discussions. SDA welcomes gamers old and new alike. You can follow them on Twitter at SDA Speedruns and visit their website at http://speeddemosarchive.com. And Speedruns Live is the best site to race video games online against other players of all skill levels. They're hosting a short series of races starting January 17th titled Get Yourself Speedrunning. You go to their front page, http://speedrunslive.com, for more information and to watch a variety of speedrun streams. I want to give a shout out to Twitch, who is hosting us online. Let you know that all Twitch subscriptions, that $5 goes 100% to the Prevent Cancer Foundation. Also want to give a shout out to the Yeti. Yeti is a t-shirt site featuring an awesome new site design and 24 hours awesome new shirt design every 24 hours for a low price. Yeti has partnered with us for AGDQ 2015, offering an array of shirts. $3 from every shirt sold goes to the Prevent Cancer Foundation. You can check out their collection at www.theyetee.com/gamesdonequick. Also, thank you to Tiny Build. Tiny Build Games is an indie developer morphed into an indie publisher. They partner up with indies across the world to help better their games as well as develop games themselves. Check them out at www.tinybuild.com and check out their game Speedrunners, available in the AGDQ 2015 Humble Bundle. Speaking of that Humble Bundle, you can check out the Awesome Games Done Quick Bundle on humblebundle.com. That's HUMBLEBUNDLE.com. Pay what you want for up to 9 games, a Twitch Turbo subscription, a subscription to XSplit Premium, and exclusive merchandise, all while supporting Prevent Cancer Foundation. We have a few donations. One donation is from S1R Toast. Donates $50 and says, "Great cause. Grandmother has breast cancer. My mother has it too. Hoping this money makes a difference. Thank you for what you do." And thank you very much. Got a $10 donation from Coffee Cone. Says, "Hey, thanks for streaming for us, guys. I love watching this live for my first time. I want to put this money towards killing those animals."
It's good. No, it's good. It's good. I can see they just following up. Yeah. Hello, hello.
Hello?
Hey, Debs, can you hear us?
Yep.
All right, we can
hear you
you.
good.
Cool. Just to double check, who do we have on the call right now?
It's Miguel Sternberg. I was a game designer and artist on They Bleed Pixels.
And I'm Andrew. I was the coder and helped with some of the game design.
Okay. And do you know our voices? I'm Studio and... Oh, is Squidclaw's mic on?
I don't think it is.
Oh.
I'm Squidclaw.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
Me too. How about you, Squidclaw? Are you looking forward to this?
Yeah, sure. Are we doing countdown today here? Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, welcome to They Bleed Pixels. This is going to be a speed run that just kind of utterly, I'd say, smashes through the game.
Yeah, this monitor is kind of bright. There's supposed to be, around the outside of the character, the outline is supposed to be white if you can dash, and kind of a grayish color if you can't dash. There's a timeout, and I can't see that right now. It just all looks white, so.
Yeah, and that dash mechanic is huge for the run.
Yeah,
every time...
I can deal.
Every time he can dash, he more or less wants to be dashing just because you get so much speed. There's also, I want to say this is a glitch, but I'm not positive. You guys can correct me. If you dash and do a jump before your dash finishes, you can get a double jump in the air, giving you a ton of extra height and horizontal distance.
That is definitely a glitch. I didn't actually know that one.
Oh, I mean, you can't do that. He's not going to do that at all. Like, don't fix that. Don't worry about it.
Or is it that, like, I'm not sure actually. If it's just dashing and then immediately going into a jump, that, yes. If you can double jump a second time after that, that's not intended.
Just that.
That thing he just did?
That was fine.
Oh,
that
okay.
thing he did, though, the hover trick, that we didn't know about until after we launched.
Okay, yeah. You can also hover, by the way. I guess we should cover more of the movement. So the key one is the dash. Everything else, there's a double jump. You can kind of cling onto walls. It's fairly standard. And there's also a few attacks that will have different properties. The kicks, for example, launch enemies instead of doing damage. You have some upward claw attacks. There's a lot of combat in this game when you do a normal playthrough, and still quite a bit when you're doing the speedrun.
Yeah, we still trap him in rooms every once in a while where he can't do anything but fight.
And he will, and he's really effective at it, I've found myself.
Oh my
You
god.
kind of have to be. What is that, 141?
Yeah, so my best speed run on this level, on the first level, was like a 159, I think.
And we've both, of course, played hundreds and hundreds of hours of this. And we've been working on a big update, so recently I've been playing hundreds of hours of it again, but I do not come close to this.
Okay, so to describe what he's doing right now, you have hearts in this game. You can take up to 3 shots, but the way the physics work and your invincibility is really brief. So if you get launched into a saw blade, the ones you guys have seen kind of spinning around, you'll instantly die more or less. Like getting hit is generally a death sentence in this game. So avoiding saws, which will propel you all over the place, is incredibly difficult and more or less an insta-kill if he gets hit.
Yeah, definitely more so on the later levels where it's just nearly aligned with saws, so no matter where you go, you end up hitting something. Early on, you can kind of get away with it.
Yeah, some of the saws aren't too deadly. Most of them eventually just become nightmares.
Nice.
Also, this room is incredibly difficult if you don't finish it quickly. Those squids, I believe they're squid heads is what they're called.
Squiddy
I
things
think
is
it's called,
on
yeah,
the
squiddy
birds.
things.
Squiddy things. Those squiddy things will just overwhelm you. Enemies in this game all have hitboxes. They will all kind of disjoint you. All right, this is a difficult trick. He needs to kind of damage boost off the
Nah.
spike. Aw,
Oh,
I didn't dash far enough. There we go.
nice. And that saves a
Oh
few
my-
seconds.
God.
so the reason that glitch works is basically he's canceling out of the down attack move, and we have a slight pause just as you start that move that's just there for dramatic effect for the animation. But since you can always cancel out of it, it ends up in this like weird hovering loop.
Yeah, and
And
that
as I
hover,
understand it, allows like him to get a little bit more of a like less steep angle when falling.
yeah, you get a lot more horizontal distance as you fall, and that's how you cover some of the longer gaps out there. And actually, all those skips that you do with that hover tend to be really precise. Like, you can barely make it in the end.
So this bit that he just went through, a lot of people hate that bit, but it's actually one of my favorite bits of level design in the game. It used to be much, much harder, but by the time it actually launched, it's at this level of ridiculousness.
I despise that part. That was, I died so much there.
Yeah, generally, like, I'd make a level and then send it to him, and then he'd just, like, send me curse words.
If he hates it, is that a good sign? Like, the worse it is for him, the better you've made?
No.
I'm trying to balance it. I know a lot of people consider this to be ridiculously hard, but I kind of, like, I get bored in platforming games if they start too easy. I feel like too many games do that, personally.
Yeah, so this one just starts out murderous.
And then gets ridiculous.
And I have to say that's one of the things that I love about this game is that even after speedrunning it hundreds of hours, it's still a difficult game. Like, this does not get easy.
Oh, man.
I should not have attacked him.
Okay, yeah, so
yeah.
that Wraith is going to chase him for the rest of the map, and now she's angry, so she goes a lot faster. He might have to kill her. Yeah, once she gets in front, you kind of got to take care of her. Normally, you can
Yeah.
kind of, take them out like booze. Just look towards them, and they'll stop chasing. But once they're after you, they don't stop, and they will chase you for the rest of the map. This game has a ton of global timers, global enemies. Once something is on you, or if you're trying to predict something in the future, you have to do it at the start of the level.
Yeah, no, some of the AI is triggered as you get close to it, or after you hit a specific switch, but almost everything, other than, like, the base enemies, just keeps going from the very start of the game.
Nice. Nice, nice, nice.
So we're about to get away from this level, but this background is one of my favorites that I did for the game.
I was actually testing some of the combat in this level, and at one point I had gathered up all the ghosts from the entire level, plus those 4 at the end, and fought them.
Yeah, that will totally happen. I've had some people go like, some of these ghosts just ambushed me partway through that fight, and it's them following people through the entire level.
Yep. Actually, those ghosts are hidden in the walls too, so your first time through, it's like, I'm on a wall, I'm safe, I'm going to jump to the side, and then a ghost just knocks you into the spike pits below. Oh yeah, pretty much below everything is a spike pit that instantly kills.
Yeah.
There's a small property with raising platforms where you get a huge jump off of them, so that's how he's able to kind of use that raising platform and just skip most of that auto-scroller.
Yeah, it gives you a slight boost if a platform's moving up.
Wow.
As for the dash, it resets if you strike an enemy. If they block it or you don't hit an enemy, you don't get a second dash, so he's able to kind of keep momentum as long as he hits something. So any enemy, it can be a knife imp, a squiddy thing, a thresher, which are or shambler, I think, are the big shambly guys. We'll give him another attack, another dash, which lets him keep zooming along. And this section's kind of I want to say more of a gauntlet. There is no save points allowed. Normally to save in this game, you have to find a safe area, wait, I think 3 seconds. And as long as nothing bothers you and you have a full blood meter, which is the kind of blade at the top, that's purple right now, you can make a checkpoint. There are no checkpoints here, so if he dies, he has to go to the bottom. And of course, it's filled with saws and spikes and insta-kill spikes and threshers and shamblers. And I don't know what threshers are because I kind of made them up, but
It's all good.
I didn't even know you could take that route there.
It's just like the girl. Nothing in this game has an official name. Wow.
yeah. What do you guys call her anyways? I was going for Squid Girl, then I realized she doesn't look like a squid. Claw Girl kind of works because she.
Yeah, the Clawed Girl is generally what we call her. That sort of came from, like, we were trying to decide on a name, and a friend of ours does a comic called Jim's book. I'm something.
Skull Kickers?
Skull Kickers. And his characters are nameless. I thought that was kind of interesting to have them just sort of like be named by their characteristics. So did something similar.
So there's a glitch that almost murders Squidclaw here, which when there's platforms that can lower when you step on them. The problem is, oh my god, that was tight. So he ran into the bomb at midair, which slowed his momentum. Normally you can kind of combo enemies in the air like that, but it does stop all your movement more or less, and it stopped it right next to an exploding bomb.
This game has such awesome deaths.
Yeah, you pretty much get blown into everything. Like, I think everything in this game has killed me at least once.
I'd hope so, otherwise it's not doing its job.
But this section right here is a good example of the global timers. If you get here fast enough, you get a really, really early cycle. But those falling platforms, when you land on them, sometimes if you jump the frame you land on them, you will not actually jump. It'll play the sound, distract you for a second, then those platforms sink into the spikes, and you die. Not to say there's any bad glitches in this game.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I've definitely found watching this year of Awesome Games Done Quick is just the number of glitches to get into pretty much every game. As much as like every time we see one, we sort of cringe.
Yeah. Don't worry, I like the game still.
Yeah. No, as the programmer, I watched this and I'm just like, oh, I would so fire my ass. Excuse me.
I feel like if programmers were judged based off how speedrunners handle the game, very few people would still have a job at this point.
Yeah, no.
The Claw Girl has a really high minimum jump height. You can't really do a super low jump. So in some of those kind of clutch situations, you have to really maximize it. And he was able to bounce between the saw blades. He almost died right there, but luckily he was kind of projectile in the right spot.
The shortcut he took there into the big spears was actually one of the few places where I deliberately left something for speedrunning.
Okay, I wondered about that one.
But yeah, those you haven't died to them yet, so those kind of really sharp spikes will instantly kill you if you land on top of them. You can jump through them from the bottom, but if you land on top, it's insta-death and a scream and all that.
And you can get through them from the side if you know exactly where to go.
Now, I love this section just because like you can go so fast through it, and you're rewarded for it because all the enemies just start suiciding into the spikes.
Yeah.
I'll do it to show it off since you like it so much.
All right. You gotta do the cool dive.
Oh yeah.
So during the rewrite, there was a bit here that I had to fix. I died so much in this last section.
All right. You gotta either not die. There you go. What?
Hey.
Oh, what?
Okay, we're safe.
The bomb knocked him underneath the platform.
Can I say that's never happened before?
Yeah.
Holy.
So, yeah, we should say we've been working on, over the last year or so, on a big update to the game, which is partially rewriting the entire thing in C, sort of run on more low-end machines, and stream better, but also adding a whole bunch of new features. Including for speedrunners, we're now going to have the ability to play back people's runs on the leaderboards. So it'll be like shared online.
I'm gonna copy all of Squidclaw's strats. Like,
I am so hyped for that. It's gonna be awesome once it's done. Oh, that's bad.
Oh, so the Wraith
I'm dead.
didn't die to a bomb back there and global enemies. She's also angered because I think the bomb might have propelled her. And any sort of aggressive action, even if it's by an enemy, turns her aggro onto the Cloud Girl. There's a skip you can do here, and you, like you said, going to the insta-kill spikes from the side lets you barely avoid dying. There's the bomb that needs to kill her. You look towards her, so she should be dead.
Yeah.
Now, there's a couple of squiddy things following him right now, and as long as he stays fast, they're not going to catch up. But the problem is there's a ton of enemies coming up. Those knife imps are super aggressive, and I think he can just save point right here.
Yeah.
And also, there's more squiddy things. This is probably one of the worst levels for the casual player in terms of not dying a lot. I think most of my friends that play this game stop around this level, or at least they don't finish it, so I don't see the times on the leaderboards.
Yeah, no, we've sort of figured out what the points where people cut off. One is that sort of foresty level that's all green in the background with a lot of slippery areas. The last level and this level are all sort of cut off points. When you get past here, though, you're pretty much, at that point, it's clear that you're like enough of a masochist, you'll get through the rest of it.
We'll have a conversation about 4-3 later on, don't worry.
I'm actually looking forward to see you do 4-3.
Yeah, 4-3 is by far the hardest level. At least it is out yet. There's a bonus level coming up that is definitely harder than anything in the actual game.
Nice. All right, so this is going to be kind of pushing some of the hovering to its limit. He's going to hover as far as he can, trying to get to this bomb imp right here.
Actually, that was dumb. I'm just going to kill myself. You can get back up there, but it is way too hard and usually wastes more time than it's worth.
There's just enough space in the platform below it to try and jump up. He's landed right there, so he can get the double jump back. Oh my god!
Jeez.
Why are you scared?
Oh yeah, that was all planned.
Yeah.
If he goes too fast, the bomb imps will knock him back into the saws here. There's a ton of bombs, and they'll detonate each other once you start kicking them forward. He gets enough blood for a checkpoint from that sawed enemy. And no big deal.
Wow.
Like, if any save looks difficult or clutch, it's because it is. This game is incredibly unforgiving about not having you die. Right now, I think there's...
Oh, okay.
What the hell? What?
Yeah, I like that trick too. It's,
Sorry,
think-
we're just both trying to figure out how that worked. Because the hitbox should have hit, I guess?
No, not quite.
I just imagine you opening up all your code right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just kind of crying over here now.
So I'm over at Miguel's place, and I'm like, should I take the laptop? And he's like, no, it's all good. And I'm like, yeah,
This is one of the forced combat areas. We're
Yeah,
going to discover some
maroons.
squid mechanics in a second here.
Yeah, there's something here that I found out actually in practice the other day. You can make the squid dance.
They have a minimum aggro range, so right here they're not gonna, or not minimum aggro, but minimum kind of attack range before they'll do their launch attack, and they have to be horizontal. So
Oh,
we got a squid
wow.
party going on.
That's great.
Squid party's over.
wow.
That is 3-3 done. Probably one of the hardest levels in the game.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's like a 20-minute to 40-minute one for me usually.
Okay, so 4-1 is actually incredibly painful to speedrun. The start is crucial. If he gets caught out, this section right here is so difficult to get through.
Yeah, good enough.
All right, yeah. If the shamblers don't die, you can have trouble getting past them. Oh!
It put me on the wrong cycle, so I wasn't familiar with what to do. And that may screw me up. Okay.
Okay, this is a tricky
Yeah,
position. He has
this is where it gets
position-
bad. Okay.
There we go.
I'm probably good.
As long as he gets the saws up before that squiddy thing catches up. Yeah, finding any enemy in this section is almost impossible because you can't control yourself well enough, and those squiddy things will hunt you down from the last section. If you're going for like an IL right here, you want to kill enemies, but you really need the safety, especially with 1 HP. There's a ton of enemies coming up.
And I don't want to have to do that beginning section again.
So you just let that ghost chase you through the rest of the level?
I don't know.
I guess you're probably fast enough that it doesn't matter.
I don't remember offhand.
It either dies to a bomb, or you just outpace it and it doesn't get aggroed off the bombs. There's actually a skip you can do here that has almost no consistency whatsoever. And it sets up another skip with 2 level HP to do that reliably either, so instead he's able just to go ahead and do this short falling section. It doesn't waste a lot of time to not do the skip.
Yeah.
And you can still do the cooler skip and the bigger time saver anyways.
Yeah, we're coming up to the skip that I just look at and go like, I really didn't get enough sleep just before we shipped. Because I was supposed to sort of go through all the levels and make sure every area was lined with spikes, save this long stretch here.
Yeah. It's a shame there aren't any spikes there.
Usually I like to put down a checkpoint up there because this can be kind of dangerous. But I have this set up that usually works pretty well for me now. There we go.
Wow, that skips a lot.
Yeah. There's another falling section, a lot of enemies to kill. Instead, you just kind of go towards this last auto-scroller, which he has 1 HP for. This is also not an easy auto-scroller. You can kind of avoid the enemies pretty easily, but the saw sections here are difficult. If you're playing through this normally, you'll try and accelerate a lot, do large movements, you'll have to deal with her kind of acceleration and turning animation, but instead he can just kind of sputter along and avoid some of the saw blades coming up. I'd say this is a good use of the word sputter. And he's through.
Looking forward to seeing how broken this bit is.
Yeah. This one's actually fun. I think there's pretty much nothing broken about it.
I just can't do it that quickly.
It's just
that's all
fast,
I'm
yeah.
saying.
He's just good at the game.
Was that seriously under 3 minutes for that? Wow.
I'm not sure.
I'm so glad we have dev commentary for this. It makes it so much better.
No, it's so I don't know if anyone's noticed, but there's a little bit of cheating on some of the leaderboards for some of these levels, and so I've been looking at them and I'm just like, okay, there's no way anyone can do this in like 3 minutes. I'm sorry, yeah, never mind.
I'll be interested to see how you handle the end of this bit, this level. A lot of the levels, like there was the tower earlier on, we didn't have boss fights because we just didn't have the time and the money to implement a bunch of unique bosses, but I tried to have some sort of rising action at the end of each level. So that's often where there's a bit where you can't put down a checkpoint or some other like ridiculous challenge.
I don't know where that ghost went. There should be a ghost following me.
We'll see if she comes back.
Oh, is that the second death?
I think there's been a handful of them.
A few. Luckily, none of them have cost too much time.
Yeah.
This section right here, you can kind of barely make it through the saws. I love the way the saws arrange themselves here. Oh. It's still a really tight jump, of course. If you hit a saw, you don't get your jump reset. The spikes do reset your double jump, though. So, essentially, if he ever gets clipped by a saw, it can really be dangerous for him to survive. And you also don't have the biggest window to actually jump because after you land on a spike, you're still in kind of a falling animation.
Oh my, wow.
Yeah, so this is how this game normally looks when people play it.
Yeah, my time is about 20 minutes slower than his, so my speedruns are pretty much this for one level for about 10 or 12 minutes. And the rest go okay.
Yeah, this is looking more like me playing.
If you face the shambler there as you're falling, you'll get kind of that slow motion, which wastes a couple seconds.
Oh,
It's no biggie.
that one.
Cool trick here.
Oh, That's so good.
Whoa.
I was so happy when I found that.
This is another forced combat section. You can do some fun things with the shamblers here. Make them shamble. Its room's perfectly set up to bounce them pretty much all over the place and get them thrown into spikes and whatnot.
Yeah, no, I tried to do that as much as possible, make it where if you like kicked them into a certain spot, it would like bounce them around into something else. Make fun patterns of blood.
The hidey hole. One more little section of combat, more shamblers come out. Once the squiddy things come out from the bottom, you'll have a chance to start moving forward. This is kind of like I almost want to say a puzzle section compared to the rest of the game. You have to hit 4 switches contained behind 4 different challenges. This one is, of course, just a bunch of enemies you have to fight in a row, and of course a bunch of bombs that come in at the end. This next one's kind of an inaccurate use of the exploding fist, which hasn't been used a lot, but you can launch enemies if you hit them in the air.
Or bombs can launch you.
You can
if
launch
you don't hit
enemies
them.
if you hit them in the air. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you mess that up, it can get dangerous very quickly. This room right here, you're kind of against the time with the saws normally. However, you just fall through and zip by. It's not too big a deal.
Oh my god.
So if you had a bit more HP here, you could go for a skip where you dash through the saws, and if you're lucky, you make it to the other side. If you're unlucky, you try to dash through saws. What do you think is going to happen? But this is essentially an auto-scroller. You have to race against the saws. Squidclaw's not really having any issues with the race part.
Yeah.
Actually, it's easy to die if you chase them too much.
Yeah, I think that's actually the single longest period of downtime in the run. That's where I like get a drink of water or something when I'm just standing there.
Oh, if you're too slow, by the way, those saws will come back and kill you.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
5 minutes. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Okay, I want to see this.
So yeah, this is the hardest level in the game.
Yes. No question.
And so one of the other things coming with the update is an easy set of levels, and this was the hardest one to modify into an easy version. Because one of the core skills is that sort of
I'm not
clinging
good.
to stuff and jumping around them. Here, the stuff with the gears. And that's not something like novice players can really handle at all, and yet the whole level's built around that.
Yeah, these ascents are really some of the hardest parts of the game, if not the hardest parts of the game. If you at all like fall behind, you're going to get swarmed by enemies. Like if you take the normal route here instead of this secret page route, which by the way, there's collectibles we haven't really seen much of. If you don't take this route, then you're more or less fighting versus enemies nonstop, and you can't stop to fight them because you're trying to speed run. So instead, you make a mistake and you instantly die. This next section, I think, is one of the worst for new players. He has to dash then walk for more or less a step or two. It's not a lot, but it's enough where you can very easily get caught out.
Yeah, I actually do it kind of the opposite. I walk a bit, then dash. But yeah, it's really tricky timing.
If he'd gotten hit by that shambler, he would have almost guaranteed to die. I feel like that's a lot of this run. I just want to point that out. Like, if he gets hit by a thing, he will die to everything else around him. This is another ascent section. It's hard. I'd say a little bit harder than the other one. Same deal where if you make a mistake, you get punished, but it's such a longer ascent. And also these saws, the way they reset, it takes a while, so you really can't afford to fall down at all. It's hard to recover.
Yeah, so like once I got hit there, I couldn't do anything because I was in constant,
Saw bounce, I'd say.
yeah.
Saw bounce syndrome happens a lot in this game.
Like I never got control back once I got hit until I was already dead.
The invincibility frames don't last as long as the hurt animations. Every now and then you'll just get launched into the corner of a saw and it's just like 1, 2, 3, you're dead. If he jumps too high here, he'll bounce off the ceilings and fall. Luckily, you can kind of recover. See?
Nice.
Good timing.
But it's definitely, you have to wait for the saws to retract like that. A Shambler here can get an attack off sometimes. If you come up with 1 HP, he will finish you off from behind other Shamblers, and you just have to duck or die.
Oh my god.
Bomb for the ghost.
Nicely done.
This section's not too bad if you take the pace of the saws, but going forward, the saws are kind of disjointed from each other. So Squidclaw has to be careful to make sure he doesn't essentially go too fast or too slow, or else he'll just land right on top of the saw. This section shows the exciting slide attack, which you don't use a whole lot, but you can use it to launch enemies upward. The saws instantly kill, the spikes not so much, so the spikes are like half as fun. Oh,
That's bad.
Oh,
And now I come up and try and get the saws to kill me because
yeah.
I was dead anyway.
Unfortunately, there is no way to recover from that since he's locked out of retreating, and the saws are going to be in front of him no matter what. Oh, if you really like saws, we have a good section for you coming up. If you ever want to see a ton of saws trying to kill some sort of Cthulhu girl, now's your time.
yeah, I thought this was like the maximum number of saws you could put into a game, but I recently did some playtesting for N++, and they actually managed to put more of their sort of analog of saws into a room.
So I don't know how new players beat this room. Like, this has been the only strategy that's ever worked for me. If you try and fight in the middle, fighting this ghost with the saws floating around is just incredibly difficult. This is a time section, so eventually more squiddy things will pop out, and most of them will kind of kill themselves on those rotating saws. How did you guys beat this section? Because I really don't know how people are supposed to do this.
I actually do it by like paying attention to the saws and bouncing up and down.
Oh man.
And occasionally, if I fall down into there, I'll get a few shots off that way.
Yeah, I should say that the room just previous to the one with the ghosts, the one with all those saws, that took me, I don't know, my first run through was just like an hour and a half just to get past that room.
An inauspicious start.
This is the final level, by the way. It's chapter 5, I guess. Not even, no numbers, just chapter 5 on its own.
Yeah, it's basically like I took all of the bits that I loved the most in previous levels and then tried to come up with some sort of
Nice.
twist on them. It's kind of a best of.
This is incredibly difficult to do if he you're able to land just barely on those tiny little sections of slime, so you don't have the momentum coming off them, and if you move at all, you get kind of jungled like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna play it safe from here on.
I was gonna say, is that actually like that much faster doing it that way?
If you can get it for an IL, yeah.
I want to say it saves like 7 seconds compared
wow.
to actually doing the intended route.
The saws are pretty unwieldy about reliable launches. You can actually get a launch off those saws that sometimes sends you forward, sometimes instantly kills you, and I think that's kind of an issue with the safe runs.
Yeah, the the current version of the game is not necessarily deterministic between runs. The rewrite, because of implementing the replay, it is now fully deterministic, which means that the saws will launch you exactly the same way every single time. So you may be able to use saws to launch.
On the other hand, I think it's such a like slight degree difference between getting launched in one direction and the other that it may still just be like impossible for a human to actually do.
Yeah, I think at the very least it seems like very tight positioning and timing to get them to work how you want. Which is why I don't really do it except in like one spot, which is actually just up here.
This ascent right here is incredibly difficult for the way the saws move around, and the squiddy things can overwhelm you. Sometimes they'll die to the saws, which is really nice. This section is kind of test your dash or test your slam skills.
Yeah, no, I consider most of this level actually to be pretty easy, except for that bit that he just passed. That's the bit that slows me down. As the jerk who designed the level.
Yeah, so I could have dashed through the saw there, but it's kind of randomly takes either 1 or 2 hit points depending how exactly you bounce through, so I don't want to do it unless I have full health.
So this section is kind of interesting in that it almost needs a route with how you proceed. Like the first part of the ascent is relatively easy. Just, if you've made it this far, you can avoid those saws normally. But then this section up here, like avoiding the enemies and surviving, it's almost overwhelming. You can see he just kind of collects them all up. They get knocked underneath the platform by the spikes, and he doesn't even put a checkpoint down because not enough enemies have died.
Okay.
So yeah, the checkpoint system, it's not just have you killed enough enemies, but also how you kill them. So if you're not like godlike at the game and you're trying to get an extra checkpoint, then like juggling an enemy a little bit more, trying to kill it in a more creative way will often get you a checkpoint.
Like when I was first playing the game, some sections I'd actually have to have saws kill enemies because I needed that extra checkpoint. Here, he could try and kill the shamblers just by auto-attacking them in the wall, but they'll start blocking after a while. So it's easier just to dash, back up, and dash, and repeat so they don't get a block in. This saves about 7 seconds, killing all 3 of these ghosts at once, I believe.
Kind of depends. It lets me put down a checkpoint before this gate opens. Whereas if you're slower with it, the gate can open before you're done, and you have to finish killing the ghosts. I just stand here.
Yeah, there's just enough space to hang on right there.
And also, that's very difficult, and honestly, I'm not sure I should even do it in runs, but I do anyway, and I happen to get it, so that's cool.
Those are all the enemies that were kind of left behind in that last room. Luckily, they all cleared themselves out because most of those were bomb imps. He can't save right here because of the saws at the bottom. So instead, he just kind of has to chug at it. Luckily, if you take a safe spot and prepare for it, this section's not too tricky.
It's actually possible to get up in there and save, but it's not really worth it. Save point just to be safe because these things can kill me on my way out.
Yep. The knife imps haven't really done a whole lot this game, but they can easily swarm. And yeah, time's coming up.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
So it's a pretty short game.
Yeah, if you play it like that, it's
Time?
pretty short.
Wow.
What was that? Not bad.
It's not too hard, is it?
No.
Now do it and get all the pages.
Maybe next time. I'm actually thinking killing all the enemies would be a really fun speedrun. So maybe you see that in the future.
That'd be neat to see.
All right. Well,
So, ladies and gentlemen, that was They Bleed Pixels, run by Squidclaw. Thank you very much for Andrew and Miguel for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
thanks for making the game.
Yeah.
All right, thank you for watching Awesome Games Done Quick 2015. We are going to take a short commercial break, and we'll be right back with you.